Might not seem like it right now, but a ton going on in the crypto markets. I want to take a look at Bitcoin dominance in this video. I want to take a look at the altcoin market cap chart in this video. And I also want to look at the short term for Ethereum. I think right now we're getting some really nice structure, even as we look at this comparison to last bull cycle and the beginning of altcoin season. Right now, I want to kind of discuss targets for Ethereum price action and what this could mean for all altcoins, even if you don't hold Ethereum. And I also want to use ADA. I've been, obviously I'm a huge Cardano holder and it's one of my favorite cryptos. But again, even if you don't hold Cardano, I think this translation of what Ethereum move could mean for Cardano is exactly the same as what it means for all altcoins. So this analysis is going to be very applicable for any altcoin that you hold. So hit the subscribe, hit the like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system, please check out our free trial that we have going on right now. Here's our altcoin risk model for the altcoin market cap. We've got altcoins back there, and you can kind of start strategizing, planning what an exit strategy will look like based on our proprietary risk models. So let's start, though, with some massive news. And I want to make a very, very strong point here. If you don't hold crypto.com CRO token, it is okay. This news is very good news. Trump Media Group CRO strategy to buy $6.42 billion for CRO Digital. So right now, crypto.com token, and look, it just keeps going. I was just planning this video, 27% within hours. I want to read over a couple big points. And by the way, again, even if you don't hold this token, these are the exact types of things that we want to see for different altcoins. We want altcoins to get their own little narratives. We want them to take turns. Tomorrow might be a chain link headline. We want this to happen, especially as we go into a very healthy business cycle for risk on assets. Now, this is Chris over at crypto.com. Historic day for CRO. Trump Media Group CRO strategy announced a $6.42 billion US dollar treasury play. I'm just reading a few highlights. I'm not reading this whole post. Look at all. This is a lot going on. A definitive agreement for a business combination with NASDAQ-listed York to establish Trump Media Group CRO strategy was signed today. Trump Media Group CRO strategy will be the world's largest holder of CRO, 6.3 billion tokens. This 6.3 billion CRO token is worth approximately $1 billion as of the time of the announcement. CRO will become the platform token of Truth Social as a part of this broad strategic partnership. This is a very good example of, this is just a glimpse of when I talk about, and many people do, especially with Clarity Act on the horizon, and this pro-crypto legislation stance that America now has, innovation, bringing in trillions of dollars. When we talk about that, these are those micro situations that lend itself to that happening. And you can just see this right now. This is a lot of money too. Right now worth $1 billion as of the time of this announcement today. So I wanted to just bring that up because it really is big news. Even if you don't hold CRO token, it's huge for crypto.com. It's huge for the industry. And we want to see headlines like this. So let's start doing some analysis on these charts. I wanted to take a glance at Bitcoin dominance. We've been tracking it from multiple different perspectives. We're waiting, and if you haven't seen my videos or haven't been tracking Bitcoin dominance, we're waiting for Bitcoin dominance to really continue falling, right? An altcoin season type of deal. Bitcoin could be going up in that environment, but if Bitcoin dominance is falling, it's because altcoins are very simply outperforming. What I was just looking at was the weekly chart, and I wanted to point this out to you. Remember back here, many of us got faked out. Most of the industry got faked out. We thought Bitcoin dominance was about to capitulate. Altcoin season was going to be triggered. We even have this MACD line crossing that signal line right there. Now, if we look at last cycle, when this big move really did happen, we also had the MACD line crossing that signal line right there. If you look at this chart though right now, we have the MACD line falling below the histogram right now on this MACD momentum oscillator. This is a big deal because this did not happen in this fake out back here in November, first off. Secondly, this is exactly what happened to kick off altcoin season last cycle. But more importantly, what I want to really point our attention to is when this was happening and the MACD line's falling below the signal line, it's falling below 0 on the histogram. That momentum is happening on the MACD, similar to what is happening right here. The other thing that was getting ready to happen was this 20-week moving average falling below this 50-week moving average, that green below the blue. So this is another thing that I think is very valuable to keep an eye on right now at the confluence of this momentum shift for Bitcoin dominance. That is, this 20-week moving average right now is really starting to trend down. It has a ways to go before even crossing below the 50-week moving average, but it's definitely looking like that momentum is absolutely more aggressive right now than it was even in this fake out back here. And notice how we've even started closing weekly candles below the 50-week moving average. Last time, this is where we saw support on Bitcoin dominance. So I'm going to continue watching that because it plays right into the altcoin market cap chart. So let's discuss the altcoin market cap chart, and then I want to look at Ethereum and Cardano. So on the altcoin market cap chart, we have this, and we do a lot of comparisons, not because it's going to play out exactly the same, but especially when we start looking at, here's the altcoin market cap chart, right? It's testing all-time high. You can just see it. It's been like just slow higher highs, higher lows. Here's where we were last cycle, testing all-time highs. Completely different looking structure. I mean, we're just like kind of going parabolic into that move. I want to show you one piece of data that is incredibly bullish. We are in a similar area in that we are testing right below all-time highs, similar to February 2021. Here's what's bullish. The risk score for altcoin market cap right now is 26. And if we look at February of 2021, here it is back here, when it's getting ready to break all-time high, we were around 50. So we're like half in terms of risk for altcoins in this chart. We are like half the risk. The lower the risk, the better opportunity, because the earlier we are. And you can just see if we zoom out, it's just because we've had this just squeezing, this consolidation that we've never seen in any cycle. I think this is a very healthy thing. At the surface level, it's testing everybody's patience, but I think it's going to end up for the patient being one of the best things that could have happened. And you just read this, historically at this risk level 26, the price was higher 65% of the time after 3 months and 73% of the time after 1 year. These stats just kind of play into exactly what is potentially in store for this altcoin market cap chart. We are right at the beginning. We had a higher risk score. We just looked at around 50 back here. That was kind of right at the beginning, right, of this really nice move. Well, we might have something even better on our hands right now, in my view. We start looking at Ethereum for some hints and clues into shorter term price action. I want to make a note. I was just looking. There's been a lot of noise, a lot of drama, a lot of fear in the markets. So August 21st, 233 million inflows, BlackRock. We have also inflows on, hold on one second. I need to bring up the chart so that you can actually see the chart, because you cannot see the chart. So we have $233 million of inflows on the 21st, 109 million inflows on the 22nd, 314 million inflows on the 25th. So look at all these inflows total. And by the way, that was BlackRock in the left column. But look at the total inflows. Just keep an eye within all the noise, what big money is doing, what smart money is doing, what patient money is doing. That's what's happening on Ethereum. What I want to do is, we know what the weekly looks like. Again, it's very similar to the altcoin market cap chart. This is it right here. We're testing all-time highs. We just broke it. We're kind of in this vicinity here. And what we were talking about in yesterday's video was that moment last cycle when it basically was like, it broke all-time high right here, and then it just fell, right? Remember, in between the 20 and the 50? That's where we are right now. But here's what's kind of becoming exciting. We have this area now, which the structure is so similar even to last cycle. Look at this. It's like a rising wedge. We have this area now. We can get a sense of, even on the short term, what to anticipate. I'm not immediately convinced that we won't dip more. It's something to always be mindful of, be patient for, because you can notice we're just testing the 20-day. There's a case where we're revisiting the 50-day. And I should say, if we zoom out on this massive chart, right, this is a daily. If I scroll back to last cycle's all-time high, this trend line here in yellow is that triangle upper trend line that we just broke out of. There's a case where we're getting the throwback to the triangle. So that is essentially to this $3,600 area in play, it's essentially the target out of this pattern that Ethereum is in right now. That's good for me just to be able to like, you know what? I'm not saying it's good for that dip to happen, but it's good for me to know if it does happen, I'll just track it unemotionally and be like, this is a normal technical move. And it wouldn't be normal in that last cycle, Ethereum didn't break to the downside here. It kept going up. And this was if you zoom out on the chart, very good for other altcoins. And that's what I'm about to discuss on Cardano. But if we go here now, we can watch for these target areas, right? Right now, Ethereum is just above support. It's like around $4,300. And to the upside though, if Ethereum makes a run for it, $4,900, $5,000 and breaks out, now we're in a very similar environment to last cycle in kind of this breakout area for Ethereum, which was basically January into February. Now the question is, what were other altcoins doing? Well, this was the big moment for altcoins like Cardano. This could be Cardano's big moment if Ethereum makes this move. That is to say, if we look at right now, we're waiting for a structured breakout that we've been very patiently monitoring right here, inverse head and shoulders. If Cardano breaks this dollar range, and this is why I posted the other day, I think if Cardano breaks $1, I think it's going to make a move and get separation from $1 and not fall back below $1 this time. We've been kind of faked out a lot with $1, right, lately. But the reason why is because we break this trend line here, then we have a very similar move to bringing it all together, the altcoin market cap chart, the Ethereum chart, February for Cardano, that big breakout. And that was breaking the bull market doors right here, around 41 cents at the time. Right now, it's around $1.20 to $1.25 at the time. But that Ethereum move, when it did break out of this like structure back last cycle, right? And this is what it looks like on the chart. Breaking that structure into February, that Ethereum move is what led to Cardano's big February breakout. And you can just see January, February, look at this February candle, basically breaking the bull market doors and heading its way to all-time highs. This is why I say Cardano could break to $2 very quickly. It could break to $3 very quickly. Look how fast Cardano went from basically the 40 cents testing in the bull market doors, from 40 cents to all of a sudden breaking all-time highs at above $1, right? This is where we are right now. This cycle, we're not at 40 cents, we're at 84 cents. It could go to $2, it could go to $3 and test all-time highs very quickly. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but you can see how these charts are coming together very well. And if you go to our risk models, you know, you go look at a Cardano risk model right now, it's sitting at a 40. This is like even a better, healthier area, lower risk score wise than it was in the January to February area. Look, we're in the 60s then. So altcoins, I think, have tested a lot of people's patience, including Cardano and others. But I think for the patient, this is fine. This is okay. And I think the opportunity will make itself clear, or at least how big of an opportunity this has been will make itself clear when a breakout happens. But these are all the charts that I'm watching right now. I wanted to share it with you today, kind of going through the week, seeing if we can get some type of altcoin breakout. But be careful for volatility, everybody. There's definitely a case for continued downside for these altcoins. We just looked at what Ethereum could look like. And for something like Cardano, you know, we have this consolidation of the 20 and 50-week moving average. Look how confluent they are right now, around 73 cents. It's very much in play for Cardano to visit the 70s. Be very careful. So appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system, you can get in here. You can start setting alerts for being alerted when we hit certain risk levels on these charts. And you get an alert. It's going to basically give you a guide of, hey, now's a good time to start taking some profits. And that's how this works. Our risk models work in relation to our exit planners. So I know the guys are working on the text alerts. So instead of just email, we should have text soon. I know many of you probably are wanting that, but it's coming soon. So appreciate you all watching. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.